Discipline is the gateway to power. It's not a concept, it's a force, a relentless, unwavering energy that separates those who dream from those who do. It's the internal engine that doesn't need applause, doesn't need permission, doesn't wait for perfect timing. Discipline shows up when motivation takes the day off. It wakes you up before the world is ready. It stays awake when the excuses pile up. Discipline is not sexy. It doesn't give you dopamine hits. It's not about hype or hashtags or waiting for some magical alignment of the stars. It's raw, it's gritty, it's uncomfortable. And that's where the transformation begins. The illusion most people live under is that freedom means doing what you want when you want. That's a lie. Real freedom, true, unshakable, lasting freedom only comes from discipline. Because without discipline, you are not free. You're a slave to impulses. You're chained to distraction, addiction, inconsistency. You answer to every craving, every comfort, every emotion that passes through you like a storm. You think you're in control because you don't follow rules, but in truth, you're being controlled by everything around you. Your phone, your mood, your fatigue, your fears. Power. True personal power comes from owning your time, your focus, your word, and that doesn't happen without the discipline. Discipline is the act of saying no to the easy road to mediocrity, to the seductive pull of average. It's saying yes to growth even when it's painful. It's choosing progress over comfort. Every single day when you understand that discipline is not punishment, but permission to become the person you're meant to be. Everything changes. Discipline isn't a cage. It's the key to unlocking your potential, the key to building a life on your terms. Because when you develop discipline, you're no longer reactive. You're not tossed around by life circumstances. You're not controlled by what happened yesterday or what might happen tomorrow. You take back the wheel. You decide how this ride goes. People say, I want more confidence. I want more strength. I want more control. But here's the truth they're avoiding. Those things are earned. They're not inherited. They're not handed to you. You don't find them in a podcast or a book or a motivational quote on Instagram. You build them brick by brick through disciplined action, repeated so often that it becomes part of who you are. You don't get stronger by hoping. You get stronger by doing hard things, especially when you don't feel like it. The gym doesn't care how you feel. The early morning doesn't wait for your enthusiasm. The results, you won't give a damn about your excuses. Discipline steps in when motivation fails, and motivation will fail. That's a guarantee. It's a spark, not a fire. It's the jumpstart, not the engine. Discipline is the engine, and it runs on choice. Your choice, daily, hourly, moment by moment. You want to be free, then control your habits. You want to be free, then dominate your schedule. You want to be free, then master your mind. Because freedom isn't doing whatever you feel like. That's how people end up broke and tired, lost, overwhelmed, unfulfilled. Freedom is doing what must be done, even when you don't feel like doing it, so that later you can live on your terms, not on someone else's leash. Discipline doesn't eliminate emotion, it puts it in check. It gives you the power to act beyond how you feel. It allows you to make decisions from commitment, not convenience, from vision, not mood, from values, not vibes. When you live without discipline, life just happens to you. But when you live with discipline, you happen to life, you create, you build. You shift reality through sheer will and consistent action. And don't think discipline is about being robotic. It's not about removing joy. It's about creating space for more joy, more energy, more clarity, because you're not wasting time anymore. You're not caught in the loop of guilt and procrastination. You don't have to play mental gymnastics every time a hard decision shows up. You know what you need to do, and you do it, that's power. And let's be clear, discipline isn't something you're born with. It's trained, it's forged in the fire of repeated resistance. Every time you want to sleep in but get up anyway. Every time you want to lash out but respond with strength. Every time you want to quit but take one more step forward. That's you building muscle. Not physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. That's you stepping into who you were meant to become. People avoid discipline because they think it's hard. Yes, it's hard. But you know what's harder? Regret, weakness, dependence, wasted potential, looking in the mirror and seeing a fraction of the person you know you could be. That's pain. That's suffering. Discipline isn't suffering. It's liberation. It's the sacrifice you make now so you don't have to sacrifice your dreams later. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being committed. You will fall. You will fail. But discipline means you get back up every damn time. It's the voice inside that says, let's go. When everything else says, not today. It's the inner force that drags you forward when your body wants to stay still. It's not glamorous. It's not loud. But it's relentless. It's powerful. It's yours. If you choose it, 30 days can rewire your life. That's not a motivational quote. That's a fact. In a world where most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a month, this truth is a weapon. 30 days of focused, disciplined, and relentless action can reshape your identity, your habits, your energy, and your trajectory. It's not about waiting for some massive breakthrough to crash down from the sky. It's about harnessing the power of one day multiplied by 30 with intentionality and fire. The biggest let people tell themselves is that real change takes forever. That's the narrative the world feeds you to keep you complacent, to keep you slow, to keep you stuck in indecision and analysis and paralysis. But the truth, you don't need a year, you need a decade. You need a decision, one that's so clear, so undeniable that your actions start aligning with your vision. Immediately, that's when momentum kicks in. And momentum over 30 days becomes transformation. When you commit to 30 days with zero compromise, you create pressure. But pressure is not the enemy. Pressure is what forgets diamonds. Pressure is what sharpens blades. And when you put yourself in that container of time, that focus, no excuses window, you ignite intensity. You eliminate the safety net of someday. You start to behave like someone whose future depends on it. Because it does. 30 days of showing up when it's inconvenient. 30 days of saying no to what doesn't serve you. 30 days of replacing distractions with discipline. That's not a challenge portal. It's a door to a version of yourself that doesn't need external validation. That doesn't break under resistance. That doesn't wait for the world to get easier. 30 days of consistent conscious repetition rewires your nervous system. You build new patterns, new reflexes, new standards. And when you upgrade your standards, your life has no choice but to follow. Neuroscience proves it. Habits are formed through repetition and reinforcement. Your brain is plastic, it adapts, it rewires. You are not stuck. You're just rehearsing the wrong routines. You're not lazy. You're untrained. You're not broken. You're distracted. But 30 days of locked-in focus can shake you out of autopilot. It can burn the old programming to the ground and replace it with a code that's built for expansion, not survival. Imagine what happens when you stop negotiating with your old self for 30 straight days. No more. I'll start tomorrow. More. Just this once. No more. I deserve a break. You're not out anything. You earn it one rep at a time, one decision at a time. 30 days of eating clean, of moving your body, of journaling your thoughts, of pushing your edge, of rejecting excuses, of choosing purpose over pleasure. That doesn't just shift your habits. That shatters your identity and builds a new one in its place. This isn't a detox. It's not a challenge to impress people online. It's not about going hard and then slipping back into mediocrity. This is about immersion, immersing yourself in the fire of discomfort long enough to realize you can survive it and even thrive in it. Because on the other side of that fire is the proof you've been searching for, that you are capable, that you are powerful, that you don't need permission to change. The problem is, people think transformation is a feeling, that one day they'll just wake up motivated. That's fantasy. Motivation is cheap. What's real is intention. What's real is action. What's real is making a promise to yourself and keeping it, not just when it's convenient, but especially when it's hard. When you make a 30-day commitment, you don't just learn discipline, you become disciplined. You don't just talk about change, you embody it. You'll face resistance. That's guaranteed. Your mind will tell you to slow down. Your body will scream for comfort. Your old identity will try to pull you back into the familiar, into the safe zone where nothing changes. That's when the real work begins. Because each time you override that voice, each time you take one more step when you want to quit, you are literally teaching your brain a new language, new default, a new pattern of power. This isn't about perfection. It's about intention and repetition. Perfection is a myth. Consistency is king. You show up no matter what. You do the work, even if it's messy. You stay in motion even when doubt whispers lies in your ear, because each day you complete, you prove something to yourself. That proof stacks, it compounds. And by day 30, you don't just feel different. You are different. You've created a shift in your core. You've written a new story in your subconscious. You've built a new identity, not by talking about it, but by living it. 30 days is not a long time, but it's enough to remind the world, and more importantly, yourself, who you really are when you stop playing small and start playing for keeps. When you stop dipping your toes in the water and finally decide to burn the boat, to go all in, to give yourself no way out but through. Because what you do in 30 days, when you stop negotiating with mediocrity, will echo for the next 30 years of your life. Emotion follows motion. That's a principle that rewires how you operate from the ground up. It flips the script most people live by. The one that says you have to feel ready, feel motivated, feel inspired before you take action. That script is broken. That script is responsible for millions of people stuck in the same place year after year, waiting for a spark that never comes. The truth is simple, brutal, and liberating. Action comes first. You move, and the emotion catches up. You act, and the mood changes. You push, and the energy shows up. Motion creates momentum, and momentum shifts state. We're taught to believe emotions are the drivers, that they're in charge. But the problem with letting emotion lead is that emotion is inconsistent. It's reactive. It changes with the weather, with sleep, with stress, with circumstance. You wake up tired and suddenly everything feels heavy. You have a tough conversation and your whole rhythm collapses. You miss one target and the self-doubt rushes in. If you wait for your emotions to line up perfectly before you move, you'll wait forever. You'll sit on the sidelines of your own life while the clock runs down. But motion is different. Motion doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't check your feelings. It just is. You lace up your shoes and go for a run. Even when you're exhausted and 10 minutes and something shifts, the fog line clears. You didn't think your way into clarity. You moved your way into it. That's the key. You want to feel confident. Move like someone who's confident. You want to feel powerful. Stand like someone who owns the room. You want to feel focused. Eliminate the noise and take one action with full intent. Your mind follows your body, not the other way around. This is the reason why people can go from despair to drive in a matter of moments, not by thinking positive thoughts, but by moving, by standing tall, by breathing deeper, by walking with purpose. You change your state through your physiology. You don't need to wait for external motivation to drop from the sky. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a trigger, a pattern disrupt, and motion is that trigger. It's immediate, it's powerful, it's always available. You don't need permission to move. You just need to move. There's something primal about this, something ancient. Our ancestors didn't wait to feel like hunting. They didn't wait to feel hopeful before building fire. They acted because their survival depended on it. You may not be fighting for survival, but you are fighting for expansion, and that demands the same intensity. You are fighting to break cycles, to override habits, to create new standards. And that battle is not one in the mind alone, it's one in movement. But daily, disciplined, decisive movement. You're not tired because you're doing too much. You're tired because you're not moving with purpose. You're drained because your body is still and your thoughts are racing. You want to change your life? Change your state. You want to change your state? Move your body. Put on the shoes. Turn off the distractions. Walk, lift, breathe, speak out loud. Stretch, sprint, do push-ups, dance, scream if you need to. But move. Don't wait to feel like it. Do it until you feel like it. Do it especially when you don't feel like it. And this isn't just physical, it's psychological. When you take action, even small action, you send a signal to your brain, I'm not stuck. That signal becomes a belief. That belief builds confidence. That confidence becomes your new normal. The reason most people stay in a loop of anxiety, depression, fear, and doubt is because they wait for a feeling to pull them out. But feelings don't lead, they follow. They follow the signals you give them. And the loudest signal is always your action. Think about how many times you felt off, low energy, low motivation, foggy, and then you force yourself to take one small action, not a massive overhaul, just a small move. Maybe it's making your bed. Maybe it's doing 10 squats. Maybe it's opening the laptop and writing the first sentence. That one small move kicks something into motion. And now you're not thinking about how stuck you feel. You're moving. You're in flow. That's not a coincidence. That's physiology. That's psychology. That's chemistry. Your body is the fastest way to shift your brain. And when you learn to master this, when you stop waiting and start creating energy, you become dangerous. You become the kind of person who doesn't need the perfect morning or the perfect playlist or the perfect coffee just to show up strong. You generate your power through movement. You become self-charging. That's what separates the elite from the average. The average wait for alignment. The elite move until alignment happens. You don't need to feel brave to take the first step. You take the first step and then you become brave. You don't need to feel ready to start the workout. You start the workout and 10 minutes in, your body remembers its strength. You don't need to feel inspired to create. You create and the inspiration flows from the doing. That's the difference. That's the edge. It's not about finding the feeling. It's about building it through action, one motion at a time. Small wins lead to massive change. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but don't underestimate the power of incremental progress. People often look at their dreams and goals like a mountain that can only be climbed in one giant leap. They look for shortcuts, for hacks, for magic moments that will catapult them to success. The problem with that mentality is that it's not sustainable. It doesn't build the foundation of true change. You can't cheat your way to greatness. Real transformation comes in tiny, often unnoticeable steps, stacked on top of each other day after day. When you set out to make a change in your life, whether it's getting healthier, building a business, or improving your relationships, you can't expect to get from point A to point B overnight. The road will never be a straight line. There will be obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But the most important thing you do is take that first step and then the next and the next. Small wins accumulate. They create momentum. They build a snowball effect that can take you further than you ever imagined. The reason small wins are so powerful is that they compound. At first, you might notice any dramatic changes. You might write a page of your book and think, that's it? One page? You might go to the gym for the first time in months, and afterward, you don't look any different. You might save a few dollars this week and think, what's the point? But those small actions, when repeated, end up to something far greater than the sum of their parts. You don't see the transformation immediately, but over time, it becomes undeniable. Every time you take a small step forward, you reaffirm to yourself that you are capable. You remind yourself that you can keep your promises. You prove to your subconscious that you're the kind of person who gets things done, who follows through, who doesn't quit at the first sign of difficulty. This is how you build confidence, trust, and integrity with yourself. And when you trust yourself, you start showing up differently. You start to feel empowered to take on bigger challenges. What once seemed impossible becomes a matter of time and persistence. The power of small wins also lies in the fact that they keep you motivated. It's easy to get discouraged when you don't see immediate results. But when you focus on the small wins, on the little victories, you create positive reinforcement that keeps you moving forward. When you wake up every day with the goal of completing one task, no matter how small, you're giving yourself a sense of achievement. You're stacking these wins like building blocks, and over time, the structure becomes solid. You may not have finished your novel yet, but you've written 10 pages. You haven't dropped 20 pounds, but you've taken 5 walks this week. You haven't built your empire yet, but you've made one new connection, sent one email, and made one sale. Each small action is a signal to your brain, keep going. You're on the right track. As you experience these small wins, you begin to rewire your mindset. You stop thinking of progress in terms of giant leaps, and you start thinking of it as a series of deliberate, consistent actions. You stop comparing yourself to others who may seem further ahead, and instead focus on the progress you've made. Over time, that mindset shift transforms how you approach challenges. You realize that the journey is just as important as the destination, and that every step you take is moving you closer to your goal. This is where the real magic happens. The small wins don't just change your external reality, they change your internal one. As you continue to make progress, you start to see yourself as a person who gets things done. You start to view challenges as opportunities and not obstacles. Your belief in yourself grows stronger, and as your self-belief grows, so does your ability to take on bigger challenges and to set more ambitious goals. Small wins give you the momentum to push through the inevitable rough patches that will come along the way. When things get tough, you'll have a bank of wins to draw from, a reminder that you've overcome challenges before and you can do it again. It's easy to get discouraged when we focus solely on the end result because the gap between where we are and where we want to be often feels overwhelming. But by focusing on small wins, you break that gap into manageable pieces. You make it less intimidating. You give yourself permission to be imperfect, to make mistakes, to go slow. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. The small wins remind you that you're moving forward even when it feels like the progress is too slow to notice. Over time, those little steps turn into giant strides. The momentum builds, the compound effect kicks in, and what once seemed impossible becomes achievable. The truth is, no one reaches their goals by taking one giant leap. It's the small, consistent actions, the tiny, seemingly insignificant choices that you make every day that will get you where you want to go. And the best part, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to do it all at once. You just have to keep going one step at a time. Celebrate each win, no matter how small. Because each victory is another brick in the foundation of the life you're building. And before you know it, those small wins will add up to massive life-altering change. Eliminate the noise, amplify the mission. In a world drowning in distractions, this is not just advice. It's a requirement for greatness. Everywhere you turn, someone or something is vying for your attention. Notifications pinging, news headlines screaming, opinions flying. Algorithms feeding you an endless scroll of dopamine hits designed to hijack your focus. The modern battlefield isn't physical, it's mental. And if you don't take control of your environment, your energy, and your focus, you'll spend your life reacting instead of creating. You'll get to the end of your days having been busy, but never truly effective. Noise is the enemy of clarity. It dilutes your power. It chips away at your momentum. Every time you check your phone instead of pushing forward, every time you scroll instead of thinking deeply, every time you say yes to something misaligned just to keep someone else comfortable, you sacrifice a piece of your mission. It doesn't happen all at once. That's the dangerous part. The erosion is subtle. One distraction at a time, one compromised boundary at a time. Until one day you wake up buried to other people's priorities, other people's expectations, and 1,000 to-do lists that don't even belong to you. The truth is, most people aren't failing because they lack ambition or potential. They're failing because they've allowed noise to take root in their lives like a parasite. The noise is stealing their bandwidth, their focus, their drive. And until that noise is cut out, surgically and unapologetically, their true mission will never get the attention it deserves. You can't do deep work in a shallow environment. You can't chase your calling while being pulled in 10 different directions. You need space, silence. You need to eliminate what doesn't matter so you can double down on what does. That begins with a decision. A hard one, because eliminating noise means letting go of comfort. It means deleting apps and turning off the TV. It means saying no to invitations, even the ones that sound fun. It means removing yourself from gossip, drama, and low-level conversations that don't move the needle forward. It means refusing to live on autopilot. It means opting out of the culture of distraction that's addicted to business but allergic to depth. Most won't do it. They'll nod their heads and agree with the idea. Then go right back to their inbox, their group chats, their TikTok feed. Because silence is uncomfortable, focus is rare, but that's where your power is. When you eliminate the noise, you create space for clarity to emerge. You hear your own voice again, not the one that's been shaped by social media or conditioned by society, but the one buried underneath all the layers of chaos. That voice will remind you why you started. It will reconnect you to your mission. That's when the shift happens. When your energy is no longer scattered, you can pour it like gasoline onto the fire of your goals. You're no longer reacting to everything around you. You're choosing where your attention goes. You become intentional, deliberate, lethal. Most people operate like they have infinite time, but you don't. Every moment you spend chasing someone else's version of success, every hour lost to meaningless distraction, every day spent in mental clutter, that's time you never get back. Your mission deserves better. You deserve better. You weren't born to be a spectator. You weren't born to be mediocre. You were born to believe, to execute. But execution requires focus, and focus requires subtraction. You don't add power to your life by piling more on your plate. You add power by removing what weakens you. This is where discipline comes in, because it's not enough to want focus. You have to enforce it ruthlessly. That means setting boundaries that others might not understand. That means designing your life around your priorities, not your distractions. That means training your mind to resist the urge for quick hits of entertainment and instead lean into discomfort, into boredom, into silence. Because that's where creativity lies. That's where solutions are born. That's where breakthroughs happen. You have to become a guardian of your environment, the content you consume, the people you surround yourself with, the conversations you engage in. They're either fueling your mission or feeding the noise. There is no neutral. Everything in your life is either sharpening your focus or dulling your edge. And once you start treating every input with that level of scrutiny, you begin to operate differently. You stop tolerating nonsense. You stop wasting time. You stop explaining your boundaries. You just live them. The more noise you remove, the louder your mission becomes. It starts to take center stage. You begin to hear the signal through the static. You feel that internal compass pulling you toward what matters most. And suddenly things start to move, not because the world changed, but because you changed. Your energy is no longer diluted. Your attention is no longer hijacked. Your days are no longer scattered. They are focused, streamlined, powerful. Every task, every conversation, every decision is aligned, and that alignment creates momentum, and that momentum builds greatness. Pain is temporary, regret lasts forever. It's a truth that cuts deep because you felt it before. Everyone has. That sharp sting of missed opportunity, the gnawing ache of knowing you could have pushed harder, spoken up, shown up, but didn't. That's regret. And it doesn't fade as quickly as a sore muscle or a long night without sleep. Regret doesn't just pass with time, it lingers. It whispers, it shows up in the quiet moments when you look in the mirror or lie wondering awake what could have been if you had simply pushed through the pain. Pain is real? Yes, it hurts. Growth hurts. Sacrifice hurts. Discipline hurts. But pain has a timeline. It has an expiration date. It comes, it challenges you, it tests you, and then it leaves. The pain of waking up early. The pain of grinding when you're exhausted. The pain of discipline when distractions are calling your name. That pain is temporary. It's a toll you pay on the road to excellence. It's the price of entry to a life that most people will never experience because they're too afraid to feel discomfort. But regret is the price you pay for choosing comfort over courage. It's the tax on a life played safe. It grows heavier with every excuse, with every moment you talk yourself out of greatness. You don't escape regret by avoiding risk or shielding yourself from pain. You invite it, you give it a home. Because when the moment passes, when the opportunity is gone, when the window closes, you're left with nothing but the echo of what you didn't do. And the echo gets louder as the years go on. You will not remember every workout, every late night, every early morning, every sacrifice, but you will remember the times you quit on yourself. You will remember the dreams you buried, the moments you hesitated instead of acted, the times you knew what had to be done but let your feelings get in the way. That's regret. It doesn't come from failure. Failure is feedback. Failure teaches. Regret comes from inaction, from the moments you didn't even try. The pain of growth is a tool. It's not your enemy. It's the signal that you're pushing past the surface, digging deeper, building something that matters. It's the weight that forges strength. When you embrace that pain, when you lean into it instead of backing away, you become more, you build resilience, you forge discipline, you expand what you believe is possible. And when you come out the other side, the pain is gone, but the pride remains. Too many people trade short-term comfort for long-term suffering. They avoid the pain of change, end up trapped in a loop of mediocrity. They skip the workout, eat the junk, procrastinate on their goals, numb themselves with distractions, and then wonder why they feel empty. They thought they were avoiding pain, but what they were really doing was planting the seeds of regret. And that harvest comes eventually, it always does. Regret shows up not just in the big decisions, but in the small ones. The daily choices that seem insignificant, but compound over time. Every time you choose the couch over the grind, the excuse over the effort, the fear over the action, you add another brick to the wall that will one day box you in. And that's the real tragedy. Not that people aim high and fall short, but they aim low and hit, that they settle, that they live lives of quiet frustration, always wondering what they could become if they had just endured a little more pain in the moment. And let's be clear, the pain of discipline is nothing compared to the pain of regret. Discipline is a burden you carry for a while. Regret is a weight you wear for life. You can't go back and relive your 20s, your 30s, your prime. You don't get a second shot at today. Once this moment is gone, it's gone. And that's why you must choose wisely. You must decide what kind of pain you're willing to live with. The pain that shapes you or the regret that haunts you. Pain is the fire that burns off weakness. It's the pressure that creates strength. It's the resistance that builds your capacity. You don't get to greatness without walking through pain. Every champion, every leader, every person who's built something remarkable has walked that road. They've tasted the grind, the struggle, the setbacks, but they kept going, not because they loved the pain, but because they feared regret more. They understood that regret steals more than comfort ever gives. You can train your body, sharpen your mind, and transform your life, but only if you're willing to face the discomfort, to push past the voice that says, not today, and replace it with, especially today, to lean into the reps, the conversations, the decisions that scare you, because that's where the growth is. The discomfort you feel now is the evidence that you're stretching beyond your old limits, that you're not settling, that you're alive, and that pain will pass, but the pride of pushing through it, the strength you gain from not backing down, that stays with you forever. And if you don't act, if you keep avoiding, delaying, choosing easy over excellence, the pain you thought you were escaping will show up later in a darker form. It will show up as regret, as bitterness, as the slow erosion of your self-worth. Because deep down, you'll know you were capable of more. You'll know you had a shot and didn't take it. And no external comfort can ever make up for that kind of loss. Regret is what remains when the dream dies and you realize you were the one who let it go. Be your own rescue mission. No one is coming, not in the way you're hoping, not with the magic answer, the perfect timing, or the golden opportunity. Life doesn't work like that. And deep down, you already know it. You've long enough for the job to get easier, for the right partner to fix the emptiness, for someone to validate you, for the perfect conditions to begin. But nothing outside you is going to save you. If you want out of the chaos, if you want to rise, if you want to reclaim your life, you're going to have to be the one who steps in. You are the rescuer. You are the answer. You are the force you've been waiting for. The moment you stop expecting someone to pull you from the fire is the moment you realize you've always had the strength to walk out of it on your own. It's not a fantasy. It's not a motivational line. It's reality. You've been conditioned to believe that someone else holds the key. That maybe if you get the right mentor or the right relationship or the right amount of money, and then the pain will stop and the clarity will come, but no one else can do the work for you. No one else knows what's burning inside of you. No one else has the power to reach into your life and rebuild the pieces except you. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be activated. There's a fire in you that's been buried under the weight of expectations, disappointments, and years of waiting for the sign, waiting for the shift, waiting for someone to see you. But the moment you decide to stop waiting and start doing, everything changes, because no one is more invested in your transformation than you. No one will fight for you the way you can. And once you realize that, you become unstoppable. This is the raw truth. Life will hand you pain. Life will test you. It will hand you grief, betrayal, failure, confusion, sometimes all at once. And you can't afford to hand over your power when that happens. You can't afford to sit in the wreckage and hope that someone else clears the debris. You have to rise in the middle of it. You have to take the hit and still keep moving. That doesn't mean you don't feel it. It doesn't mean you don't cry, scream, break down, but it means you don't stay there. You feel it and then you rebuild. And every time you do, you reclaim more of your strength. No one else knows your battles the way you do. No one else sees the demons you wrestle with at 2 a.m. No one else knows the weight you carry just to make it through the day. And that's why no one else can save you, because no one else is built for your fight, but you are. You were designed for it. Every scar you've earned, every tear you've shed, every dark night you've survived, it's all proof that you've got what it takes. You didn't come this far just to collapse now. You came this far to wake up and realize you were the hero all along. Being your own rescue mission means taking radical ownership. It means no more blaming your past, no more waiting on luck, no more hoping someone will give you permission to start. You don't need permission. You need courage. Courage to look in the mirror and say, this is on me, and I've got this. It means showing up for yourself every single day, especially on the days when you don't feel like it. Especially when the voice in your head says you're not good enough. Especially when it would be easier to quit. Because that's when it matters most. That's when transformation is forged. There's power in that kind of ownership. There's freedom in knowing that the same hands that built the mess are the same hands that can clean it up. That you don't have to wait to be chosen. You can choose yourself. You don't have to hope for someone to love you enough to inspire you. You can love yourself enough to rise. And when you start showing up like that, with grit, with self-respect, with fire, the world responds differently. Doors open, energy shifts, opportunities align, but none of that happens until you make the first move. You must become the source of your own rescue. You don't become unbreakable by avoiding the storm. You become unbreakable by walking through it and discovering you're still standing, stronger, sharper, more grounded than ever before. Every time you choose to stand back up instead of stay down, you rewrite your story. Every time you refuse to be a victim, you rise. Not just once, but again and again, until that resilience becomes your identity, until people look at you and wonder how you did it. And the answer is simple. You stopped waiting and you started saving yourself. You pulled yourself out of the spiral. You decided to own your power. You became your own rescue mission. And that was enough to turn everything around. You've got 30 days to step out of excuses and into execution. 30 days to stop waiting for a breakthrough and become the breakthrough. This isn't about hype. This is about decision. Because discipline isn't punishment. It's the ultimate expression of self-respect. It's the path that transforms chaos into clarity, distraction into direction, emotion into motion, and small wins into unstoppable momentum. The pain you push through today becomes the power you carry tomorrow. The distractions you eliminate become the focus that fuels your mission. The silence you create amplifies the voice inside you that's been begging to lead. And the moment you stop expecting rescue and take full command, that's when you shift from survival mode to transformation mode. Freedom isn't given, it's earned. Earned through relentless consistency, unshakable vision, and the kind of inner fire that doesn't wait for permission. In 30 days, your entire life can change. If you choose discipline, if you choose to act, if you choose to become the force that changes everything. Not someday, not when it's convenient, right now. Because this is your rescue mission, this is your turning point, and this is the moment you draw the line and say, enough waiting, let's go build what I was born for. So stand up, step in, and take control, because your future doesn't wait, and neither should you. Thank you for showing up with intensity, heart, and purpose. Now go make these next 30 days the foundation of the life you were meant to live.